One of the problems with recruiting for investment banking is not the knowledge or skills you acquire, but the access to talk with real investment bankers to put your best foot forward. Our sponsor, WSO Academy, can provide those connections with 60 head mentors who are finance professionals at top firms like Goldman, Centerview, and JP Morgan. Imagine being able to get on the phone within 24 hours with one of the Academy's 1,300 mentors right before a critical interview. Get on the waitlist for WSO Academy today by clicking the link in the show notes or by visiting wallstreetoasis.com/academy. All right. Welcome to Investment Banking Insights. My name is Alex Mason and I am your host. This is the show dedicated to helping you learn both the technical and non-technical aspects of investment banking as we transition our careers. So we've been talking about valuation a lot, and this is the final question. Yes, the final valuation question at a basic level. There's more questions at an advanced level, but this is the final one at the basic fundamental level that I'm going to cover for now. And it has to do with private companies. And what we want to understand is this: how do we use private companies in valuations? And how do we value a private company? Because we don't have the same data that we can use to go off of with publicly traded companies, right? We talked about that an episode or two ago. So what do we do? What do we do? Well, we know that with publicly traded companies, we have more data for our assumptions and projections, but generally, the principles of valuation are the same. And so we can look to these main three valuation methodologies and kind of go off of them. Remember, there's precedent transactions, comparable companies, and discounted cash flow analysis. Those are the big three. And so here's some differences that we might look at when we're valuing a private business versus a publicly traded one. So first of all, with a publicly traded company, we might apply a discount of 10 to 15% to the overall valuation because of liquidity. Remember, if a business is more liquid, that means it can change hands more easily. So we don't have to pay quite as much as if it's illiquid. If it's illiquid, like private companies are, then we typically will have to pay a little bit more to get control of that business. It's a little bit more of a hassle. So that's one thing that's a difference. And then another difference is in the other valuation methodologies that you can and cannot use with a private company. So remember some of the other valuation methodologies that we talked about, such as an M&A premiums analysis or a future share price analysis? Well, we can't use a future share price analysis if the business isn't publicly traded because there is no share price. There's no shares, at least no publicly traded shares. So that's out the window. That's another difference. And then you would look at your enterprise value for a private company instead of a share price or an implied per share price, because again, there is no publicly traded stock to go off of. So you're just looking at enterprise value with a private company. And then when you're considering DCF analysis, we haven't talked that much about this yet. That's going to be an upcoming section of the podcast where we're going to be going through discounted cash flows in detail. But fundamentally, what is a DCF? We're looking at the intrinsic value of a business based on projected cash flows. That's what it is. And some of the inputs to a discounted cash flow model are things called weighted average cost of capital, or WACC. And don't freak out if you have no idea what that means. We're going to be getting to that pretty soon. But just know for now that it's an input in the DCF analysis. And when you have a private company, you don't have a market capitalization as well as a beta. And we'll define what that means soon. But because we don't have these ingredients, we can't do a DCF analysis with the same level of confidence that we would be able to if the company was publicly traded. We would have to estimate those assumptions or those inputs to the model as opposed to taking them directly from the market. So there's some subtle differences there between public company valuation and private company valuation. And so those are the things. And then the next question that I want to bring up is, how do you use private companies as part of a valuation? What would you do with a private company? I mean, we know with public companies, we can do comparables. So, what would we do with a private company? Well, the answer here is pretty simple. We would just stick to the precedent transactions methodology when using data from private companies. And remember why this is. It's because if we try to use them with a comparable companies approach, it wouldn't make sense because public companies are used with that methodology. So we would use precedent transactions. And then again, with a discounted cash flow analysis, those inputs, those things like market capitalization, things like beta, we can't just grab those pieces of information from the market. We would have to estimate them for private business transactions. And so it's a little bit different of a nuance. So you would generally stick to precedent transactions when using private companies as part of your valuation work. So that's how you would value a private company and how you would use it in a valuation. That's what I got for you today. And yes, we finished the valuation section. The basic valuation section, that is. We're going to be moving on next to another section. And so just join me next time. We're going to be going through these questions. I'm so excited that you joined me here now for 64 episodes. 64 episodes. Can you believe that? We are just rolling through these, and I highly encourage you, if something is going over your head or just isn't clicking quite right, go back and re-listen to it. Go back and re-listen to it. Listen to it at a slower speed if you want to on your podcast player, and just really internalize this knowledge, because this stuff is important to understand as we go on our investment banking journey. I know myself, I am going to be re-listening to the episodes that I myself have produced because I want to make sure that I really get it. I don't just want to understand things from a memorization perspective or from a surface level perspective. I want to really know. And so if you're one of those people too, as I know you are, go back and listen to these episodes again if something's not clicking, because we're going on this journey together and I'm just excited for what's in store. Okay, until then, I'll see you next time on Investment Banking Insights. Have a great day.